Hey there, folks, and welcome back to the I Am CDB project. Of course, I'm your host, CDB. You are not. And today we're going to use a couple of items that has been sent to me. This is MIM shaving cream. I believe that is Israeli. It comes in a tube like this, and it comes out, as you can see there, quite green. I used this yesterday, and I'm going to use it today on video again. This was sent to me by the inspector, David Fernicola. Also, we're going to use a beautiful Aristocrat, which was sent to me by Oive. And Oive, you know who you are. This one is absolutely immaculate. I already have one that Don the Navy Goat sent me, but this one is even in better shape. I mean, it is pretty close to pristine, if not pristine. Even the box it came in is beautiful with the blade holder. So thanks so much, Oive. This is dedicated to you. Really smooth opening on this guy. He doesn't really care for vintage razors. And we're going to be using the Astra SP blade. Now, I want to make a note because this topic keeps coming up in some of the forums. Astra has changed the appearance of some of the blades. Like this one is old stock. And let me open it here without cutting myself. And as you can see here, it's labeled Astra on both sides, and it's got the numbers in the corners. The new ones, I am told, do not have that. I think there's a label maybe on one side and not necessarily on the other, and that has caused a lot of people to think that they are counterfeit. However, a viewer emailed a distributor who replied that no, they're not counterfeit. They've changed the way they look. So you may get old ones like this, or you may get that newer design. And the distributor assured one of my viewers that, you know, it is genuine. It's not counterfeit. Excuse me. It's been changed deliberately. So if you see those, from what I've been told, they are legit. There's debate on whether they're rougher now. I don't know. I haven't used them myself. My advice, folks, is as much as you can, try to use these products blind. If you get a blade like that and something looks off, have your wife load the blade in the razor, or significant other. Have her load a regular one, and then have her load later one of the newer ones without you knowing it, and use it and see how you feel. Because I feel like other opinions influence us a lot in terms of the way we feel about things. So the best way to do it is use it blind and figure it out for yourself. If it's rough, it's rough. You know, I can understand that. But sometimes you can get these preconceived notions that will really affect the way you think about things and the way you think things are actually functioning. So my advice, give it a while, try it, see what goes on. Use it blind if you can. All right. So let's wet the face and we'll get right into it. Stay tuned. All right. So one of the things I noticed about this MIM cream, I don't know if I'm saying that right or not, is you have to be careful with water because it doesn't, or at least it didn't yesterday, it doesn't produce a really thick lather. It is a little on the thin side, but it is slick. And we'll see how this goes today. And as you can see there, that's not super thick, but I found it was quite slick, and my face did feel pretty good after. So it didn't dry me out or anything like that. So again, I'm new to this cream, haven't read nor heard a lot about it. The scent is just, you know, like a lot of the tube cream. It's not remarkable. It's just it's got a sort of a clean, fresh scent to it, but it's nothing remarkable. But definitely be careful on this one with how much water you put into it, because I think it is sensitive to being overhydrated, and it'll get thin on you if you're not careful. So, oops, we're getting it all over the place. And that is normal, of course, for me. Anyway, just be careful with your water. Start out, you know, a little dry and add water slowly. This is not one that I would recommend putting a ton of water in at first and then trying to beat it into submission, because it's a little thin. But I did find that it was quite slick, and actually, despite not having a really remarkable scent, it just smells nice. That'd be the way that I would characterize it. So let us use this beautiful Aristocrat sent by Oive, who is a wonderful wonderful guy. And let me tell you, Oy Vey is in the groups, and boy, he went on a tear last year when he first, I think, dove into this hobby, buying every expensive razor there was. And he really, like I said, went on a tear. And so he's experienced a lot of great razors. And one of his favorites is the Rex razor. And I apologize if I'm getting the name wrong. I think it's called Rex. The Shave Emporium puts it out. And I wanted to speak on that a little bit. I haven't tried it myself, but I must be honest. My needle is moving closer to pulling the trigger on that thing. And I'll talk a little bit about that. For one, Matt Pasarczyk put up his own capital to develop this razor and has delivered quickly. And all the reviews that I've seen have been really, this is outstanding. Now it's expensive at $200 or whatever it is, somewhere, you know, $200 thereabouts, maybe a little bit more, maybe less, I don't know. But this is not a guy who depended on a Kickstarter, took people's money and waited a year or over a year to deliver product. He took all the risk himself, and a lot of companies do that. You're Above the Ties, you're Joe's from Razor Rock, you know, you're Timeless. They take the risk themselves, although don't get me wrong, there's nothing wrong with a Kickstarter. But in the light of this thing with Rockwell, well, where it's been forever, and then also some of the parts on the razor has changed from what they initially promised. Honestly, I'm holding out. You know, I ordered a Rockwell, and I'm going to wait for it because I've waited so long, but it better be perfect, believe me. Because if not, I will roast it. Because the amount of money that has been raised and the amount of time it has taken, and understandably, it's an incredibly difficult process. But things have changed along the way. It keeps getting delayed. Now they're saying May. You know, they may start some in February or March, but most likely May. When May rolls around, that thing better be the cat's meow. Better be the cat's meow, because they've raised almost, I don't know, 500 and some thousand, $500,000 to produce this thing, and it's been over a year. And then initially it was supposed to be all or most stainless steel, and they've changed parts and whatnot along the way. And I understand it's work in progress, you know, that's Kickstarter. But on the other hand, you have people like Matt Pasarczyk, who put up his own capital, took all the risk himself to develop this Rex. And so, you know, I lean towards the Rex in terms of really appreciating what he did. We'll talk a little bit more about that when we come back. Stay tuned. All right, here we go, pass number 2. That was a really smooth pass, I will say. The Mem is pretty slick, I'll give it that, if that's the way you say it. And the Aristocrat is flawless, absolutely flawless. Mild, but really a treasure. So thank you, Oy Vey, once again. Anyway, Oy Vey's one of his favorite razors, the Rex. And if he really likes it, given the amount of premium razors he's been through in the last year, there's probably something to it, you know. And so I think the Rex is probably worth checking out if you have that kind of scratch. Again, I typically don't like buying a ton of premium stuff, but sometimes when it comes to hardware, I think it's worth it, at least razors, because the razors will last you a lifetime and multiple lifetimes, hopefully your sons, your, you know, whomever, maybe grandsons. So you can justify a $200 razor, you know, as a treat for yourself. Software brushes, I can't justify it, quite frankly. I just can't. They will not last nearly as long as the razor's been taken care of, although they'll last a good while. Now, brushes like this that are sub 100 bucks, custom, I mean, I think that's a good buy. You get your Peter Wolfs and your Nathan Clarks and all the other wonderful brush makers. I think they're well worth it. But these, you know, $200, $300, $400 brushes, I get nothing out of that. And I've been down that road and I've wasted a lot of money. So take it from me, a sucker who fell for that malarkey. Anyway, back to the Rex. So I'm getting ever closer to pull the trigger on one. I get a lot of emails from folks who asked me if I've tried it, and some they really love it. So again, I want to say to Mr. Pisarsik, you know, good on you, Matt, for taking the risk, developing that razor, having it in stock, not holding people over the barrel, you know, for months and months and months and months to receive their product. And so I say good on you, and I'm sure that I will be, when, you know, funds permit, I'll give that razor a shot, and I'm sure I'll enjoy it because I haven't heard a bad word about it, quite frankly. The only, you know, the only negative thing is, oh, it's pricey, but, you know, once again, the guy put up his own capital, took all the risk, had to manufacture this thing himself with no help from anybody. And so, you know, you can understand why that takes a lot of investment to bring that to market. So he's got to make up the money they invested. And who knows if it's even went in the black yet. He could still be in the red, you know. It takes a long time to make your money back when you put down that kind of investment. So I would encourage you to check it out if you want to. And you know me, I'm not one to push people in the direction of purchasing, you know, gear that is premium, generally, outside of a few things. But in that case, you know, I'm getting closer myself, so, you know, I respect what he did. So there you have that. Stay tuned. We'll come back for pass 3. All right, here we go, pass number 3. Now, I want to talk about one other subject. And when I mention this sort of thing, people will naturally think I'm trying to be negative, and actually it's the contrary. The Big Shave East is coming up. And as you recall, last year, after the Big Shave West, I made a video talking about it. And that video was my own feelings, as well as some participants at the Big Shave West who wanted to remain anonymous. So I was expressing some of their thoughts. And some of the thoughts that I talked about was, you know, it had always been in the West, which is a sort of an advantage for the people who were, logistical advantage for the people who were there. And it had been there, you know, 3 years in a row. And I was like, you know, maybe it should move around and this and that and the other thing. And so this year, it's down in Florida, the Big Shave East. Now, I'm not going. And it's not because it's the Big Shave East or put on by Douglas Smythe. It has nothing to do with it. I'm not really into vendor-driven meetup, although I shouldn't say vendor-driven meetups. This one's heavy on vendors will be there, and a lot of people love that. A lot of people love that, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with it. Let me say that at the onset. I'm just not into that sort of thing. I'm more on a, for example, this summer I went up to see the Inspector Furnicola, and I met with Dan Mastronardi and Chris Cullen and Peter Charcalis, and I like those intimate settings with friends that, you know fairly well, and so I really enjoyed that. I'm not really into the shave meetup thing. You know, I'd like to meet everybody, but again, I like to talk about things other than shaving, you know, apart from my videos here. It doesn't dominate my life as it once did. Anyway, so it's in the East this year, which I give a lot of credit for that. I say it's great to give other people an opportunity who are closer. The other thing is that I talked about last year is when it was always in Pasadena, there are people who can't afford to fly from the East Coast to the West Coast. People on, you know, fixed incomes with not a lot of discretionary income. And so what I did in the video last year, and it was taken as an attack on Douglas, which it was not intended to be at all, was repeat a lot of the things that I was told. And that they felt there were certain unfair advantages and, you know, going down the line. Anyway, roll it forward a year, and this time it's in the East. And so I think that's a wonderful idea, and it will give people on the East a chance to maybe drive there. You know, it's not so far out. Now, of course, that, you know, a lot of people from the West Coast, of course, won't be able to participate, but it had been there for 3 or 4 years, you know, previously. So I think this is a wonderful thing if people are interested in going. The one thing that I'll say about Mr. Smythe, and everybody knows that, you know, I certainly do not agree with everything Douglas does and has done, and we have our differences. But the one thing that I will say is the guy works hard. And you cannot take that away from him. He's constantly plugging. He's constantly thinking of, you know, ways to do things. And so regardless of whether you like him personally or not, you have to admit the guy, you know, he's all in. He works hard. And so I give him credit, you know, for doing that. And I personally like the fact that it'll give people who perhaps didn't have the opportunity when it was California to go. And that was really, you know, a lot of what I voiced last year. And of course, the folks who are, you know, PAA acolytes were like, oh, there he goes again. Like, get off of it. Get out of here with that foolishness. Look, you know, people who have talked to me about PAA, which I don't use personally for personal reasons, and that's been well established. But people email me all the time. Rarely a week goes by where they don't ask why I don't use it. And I say, look, it's a fine product. Try it. Make your own judgments. I'm not trying to steer people away because they may find that they really enjoy it. They may find that they really enjoy their interaction with the company. And they may find that they really enjoy these type of events. So my advice is make up your own mind on these sort of things. And then go with it. If you enjoy it, use it. He certainly puts in the work. And so I'll leave that there in, well, just in saying, you know, it's a good thing. I'm glad it's moved over, and it will give other people an opportunity, because that's really what I'm about, is broadening the scope and scale and giving everybody opportunities. That's why I give things away here almost every week. And by the way, today's the last day to get your entry in for the Timeless OC. It's Saturday. I don't remember the date. But tomorrow on Sunday, I will announce the winner. And just a note, you must watch to win. I will not email you and tell you you're the winner. So if a week or two goes by and you have not claimed it, I will draw again. And don't contact me after I've already said, okay, it's up for giveaway again. Oh, I won, but I didn't see the video. You have to watch to win. These giveaways are for regular viewers. And I realize there are a lot of people who come to this channel just for the free stuff, or subscribe to me on Twitter to get an entry and then they leave. That's okay. But these giveaways are not really for them. They might win. I mean, whoever I draw, it will go to. But I really want it to go to folks who are regular viewers and participants. So there is that. All right, that was really an excellent shave. Stay tuned, we'll come back with the post. All right, and here we are back with the magic made by which is there's Witch Hazel, which is great stuff. Does wonders for me. And you see it, of course, every single day, or every day I make a video anyway. Quick look at the equipment we use today. Aristocrat by this Gillette, of course, vintage, beautiful oil vase. So thank you very much. I will keep this and treasure it. I really appreciate it, sir. You're a heck of a guy. Mim shaving cream. Slickness is good. It's not remarkable in my view beyond the slickness. I mean, it's adequate, but it's like a lot of the tube creams. They just sort of fit right in that adequate to pretty decent range. I like that. Actually, it's got a pleasant scent. Good slickness. It doesn't produce a voluptuous, yogurty lather. Of course, I got a great shave, so I guess it didn't really need it. And of course, we use the Nathan Clark Envy Shave 8-ball, which is absolutely superb. And the Timeless Lathering Ball, which, you know, I'm a huge fan of, and it won't break the bank. I think it was like $12.50 or $13.50 at the most. It's really excellent with the ridges and all. And of course, remember the note I made about the Astra. That is a go-to blade for me. And we're going to use today for aftershave the TOBS Victorian 74. I think I read somewhere not too long ago they're doing away with this, and that's a shame because it's good. I could be wrong, but it seems to me at one point I read they might be doing away with this one, so maybe I'll have to ease up on it and not use it as much. But I love the scent. It's a good lime, and as I've always said, I don't care anything about the weather or the seasons. That's a bunch of hogwash in my view, at least for me, in my world. I use what I want to, when I want to, and I enjoy it. And that's what you should do too. So don't worry about these people. Oh, You're using a summer scent in the winter. Yuck, 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 yuck. Get out of here. That foolishness. Use what you want and enjoy it. That is the main thing, folks. All right. I think we're going to wrap it up today. It's been a wonderful shave. Maybe I'll do a head shave on video and put up later. I want to thank everybody for joining us once again. Until next time, I've been your host, CDB. You are not. God bless.